In this video, we will apply all modifiers, but before that, we will create a backup copy of the character in a specific collection. Also do the UV, which is why we're applying the modifiers in the first place. Select all objects. Notice I pressed Ctrl A and this apply menu appeared. Pick all transforms. In case you didn't know what transforms are, basically their location, rotation, and scale. It's all called transforms. Even the title here says transform. When you apply the transforms with Ctrl A, you reset the values here to 0. But 1 for the scale instead of 0. Before applying, the values are 2 for the scale, rotation 20, location 2. Once you apply the transforms, the origin point goes back to the center. If I Ctrl Z, it's back here. If I apply, it'll go there. This is really important with rigging and modeling. We're applying the transforms now, so when I create the backup, it is in the correct way. So after you apply the transforms for these objects, hit M and move them to the characters collection. Now duplicate the character with Shift D, right click, M, new collection, name it backup. In the outliner, hide the backup collection. Now apply the modifiers in order. For the pouch also, and the glasses too. The backpack, earlier we applied the mirror, but now we will redo it so the UV is mirrored and save a lot of time. So delete half of the character and add the mirror modifier and enable clipping. Now you'll learn about UV, which is pretty difficult to explain to a beginner. I hope you understand. In a nutshell, UV is the way you're telling 3D packages to project the texture. That's basically it. A texture is just a regular 2D image. You then project it onto a model. For example, there is no UV here, so I can't properly project a texture onto it. I'll add a texture to show you and turn on rendering. As you can see, it doesn't have a texture. The UV isn't allowing the texture to show. To make the UV, mark edges with seams, which Blender will cut along them. Select an edge, right-click, mark seam. It is red now. Another seam here. Select all and unwrap. Now we have a bit of UV, but it's not perfect, but at least it works. So now turn the material mode, and as you can see, it's working. Not perfect, but it's working. The easiest way to explain UVs is if you see this. It's like a foldable cube or packaging or something. You'll understand what I mean if you're familiar with origami. So to create the foldable cube, clear all seams, select these 3 edges from the top, mark seam, same on the other side, and also this edge. Select all, then unwrap. We have the foldable cube. See the texture? Now it's more clearer and you kinda can see the texture. If I only select this face, you can see the corresponding face in the UV also selected. And I can move it up to fit the part of the texture into the polygon. I hope the idea was clear. We'll Ctrl Z to go back, then move the whole UV up instead of a single face. Keep in mind that the face at the bottom in the UV editor represents the top face of the cube. So this face we see is that face. And this one is on the top. What I'm trying to show you is that the placement of the seam determines the outcome. This edge represents this one. This edge is this one. I'd say the best way to understand seams is to try them yourself. Here we have a cylindrical shape. To unwrap a cylinder, select the top and bottom loops. Lastly, an edge in between, preferably a hidden one. Right-click, mark seam. That's basically it for a cylinder. Select all, then unwrap. To unwrap a model, you can use the shortcut U to get this menu. Now it's unwrapped, as you can see. I can select the top face and assign the eye for it. Same with the bottom plane, but for the other eye. You can select this part with L. Under select linked, pick seam. That means the selection won't go beyond seams. We'll move it to cover the hair. Now the selected part will only show the texture for the hair. I hope it was clear and enough. As I said, this topic is fairly complicated.